there was a lot more interdependence essentially in previous communities where you kind of almost describe it like an obligation to look after one another, because people relied on each other. Whereas now everything is completely individualistic and independent. Obviously I have the reliance because I live with you guys at home. I have some form of reliance on my parents, but as you grow up and you start working and you get married, people don't really have that reliance on their community anymore. Like I can move now to Monaco by myself, and I can create a life there if I tried hard and wanted to. And it doesn't feel like a major shift for some people because they don't rely too much on those around them. Do you think now that we've lost the ability to be interdependent, to kind of need people and be needed?
Okay, I personally think that that interdependence of the past came from a culture of needing each other. People initially lived in villages, and whenever they moved to cities, because urbanization is not a very old phenomenon. Even in Europe, people, bigger populations by 17th century, 18th century, they lived in villages. Even when they came into urban populations, they kept their old culture of and depending on each other. So, and village life was a kind of life where you were dependent on each other for, so even from back when the barter system, so you will produce wheat and somebody else would produce vegetables. And so it was that interdependence of need which shifted to cities and then carried on that society and even today's when you're saying that whether we have lost touch with that. Wherever there is a need-based interdependence, it is still there. And humans are such creatures that with everything, they don't call it need-based. they will call it harmony. And so that's how it's. So I think wherever still there, because when you're living in England and you're thinking of Monaco or the Western Europe, the system of governance works so well that you don't need anyone. If you go to hospital or you go to police or you go to court case, so you have everybody set up and things, people would do the things which they're supposed to do. But when you are living in a developing country and even today, things don't work out the way they do. And for example, the hospital doctors won't kind of treat patients as they're supposed to. And so the carer of the patient or somebody who is a family member has to be with them if they go to hospital, for example, or in any other situation. So the water wouldn't come on time, or community will have to gather together to arrange for some sort of thing to ensure that the water is provided. So it's whenever there's a need-based situation, community will come together. I'll give you an example. I was flying from Guangzhou and the flight was supposed to be coming to Beijing, and we had a connecting flight from Beijing to Amsterdam. And our flight delayed for like an hour and a half, and there was only a 2-hour gap between the flight arrival and the next flight flying. So when we arrived, so it was only half an hour left for the Beijing flight to go to Amsterdam. And there were about 15, 16 of us who were about, and as soon as we came out, there was a couple of guys there, okay, all the Amsterdam people should come this way. And I saw that, boy, all 16 of us, there are a couple of elderly people as well, were looking out for each other, opening doors for each other, taking each other luggage, okay, making sure the lift door stays open, the other people get in. So every one of us made sure that all of us get there in time. So whenever there's a need, and none of us knew each other before, whenever there's a need to be together again, so people do become kind of and help out and try to become that united thing. But most of the time when you say that, okay, we have lost the ability to engage, I think it's not, there is no point. Humans are clever creatures. When they see that it's just now chit chat left, I can't contribute much to the other person. So then they don't involve that much. And back then or wherever today they feel that they can make a difference in somebody's life or somebody can make a difference in their life, then that trade of interaction becomes richer and better.
That's a lovely story as well. It kind of shows a great example of that interdependence, that looking out for one another is still there innately.